Let's enjoy the little things in life together. A new day, a new vibe. Welcome to my channel, Daily Top Vibes. Biography. Full name, James Madison Jr. Born the 16th of March, 1751, Port Conway, Virginia. Died the 28th of June, 1836, Montpelier, Virginia. Presidency. Fourth President of the United States, 1809, 1817. Political party, Democratic, Republican. Known as Father of the Constitution, primary author of the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Vice Presidents: George Clinton, 1809, 1812. Elbridge Gerry, 1813, 1814. Spouse: Dolly Payne Todd Madison. Net worth. Historical estimate. Madison inherited land and slaves from his wealthy Virginia family. At his peak wealth, his estate was worth about $100,000, $200,000 in early 1800s money, equivalent to $2.4 million today. However, later in life, poor crop yields, declining tobacco value, and debts left him with financial struggles. House: Montpelier Estate. Madison's home was Montpelier, a large Virginia plantation in Orange County. It originally had 2,600 acres of farmland and enslaved African Americans who worked the plantation. The mansion was expanded during Madison's presidency. Today, Montpelier is a National Historic Landmark and open to the public as a museum. History and legacy. Constitutional work. Played a leading role in drafting and promoting the U.S. Constitution, 1787, and the Bill of Rights, 1791. Federalist Papers. Co-authored the Federalist Papers with Alexander Hamilton and John Jay. War of 1812. As president, he led the U.S. through the War of 1812 against Britain, sometimes called America's Second War of Independence. Retirement. After leaving the presidency, he lived quietly at Montpelier, advising future leaders and serving as president of the University of Virginia, founded by Thomas Jefferson. Death. Died in 1836 at age 85, the last of the founding fathers to die. The oldest of 12 children, James Madison was born on the 16th of March, 1751, to James and Nellie Madison. James Sr. was a slave owner and planter. In the early 1760s, he constructed a new home in Orange County, Virginia, and the family moved into the plantation estate, Montpelier. Although James Madison was often ill as a child, he was also naturally inquisitive and studious. He pursued an education at the College of New Jersey, later known as Princeton University, and graduated in 1771. Madison returned to Virginia and was elected to the Virginia legislature in 1776, where he befriended Thomas Jefferson. When Jefferson was elected governor of Virginia in 1779, Madison worked closely with him on the governor's council. In 1780, Madison was called upon to represent Virginia in the Continental Congress, making him the youngest delegate at 29 years old. In 1783, Madison returned to the Virginia state legislature, where he worked to pass the Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom in 1786, a document originally penned by Jefferson as the national government struggled to operate under the Articles of Confederation. Congress called for a constitutional convention in 1787. Ahead of the convention, Madison spent months in his library drafting a document now referred to as the Virginia Plan. The Virginia Plan laid the foundation for the United States Constitution, proposing a centralized government consisting of 3 branches, where each branch would provide checks and balances so that no branch could become too powerful. Over the next several months, Madison played a central role convincing the delegates to create a new government with more authority and centralized power, rather than simply revising the Articles of Confederation. After the delegates completed the Constitution, they submitted it to the states for ratification. As the state legislatures deliberated, Madison worked with Alexander Hamilton and John Jay to author a series of letters defending the Constitution. These letters, known as the Federalist Papers, were published in newspapers throughout the country. On the 21st of June, 1788, New Hampshire became the 9th state to ratify the Constitution, securing enough votes to become the law of the land. In 1789, Madison was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, where he served 4 terms and fought to secure the passage of the Bill of Rights. In 1794, James Madison married a Quaker widow named Dolly Payne Todd. 3 years later, he left Congress and returned to Montpelier with his wife. In February 1801, James Madison inherited the estate and over 100 enslaved individuals upon his father's death. After the election of 1,800, President Thomas Jefferson named Madison Secretary of State. In this position, Madison supported the expansion of the United States with the Louisiana Purchase, opposed the seizure of American ships as Great Britain and France warred with one another, and backed the widely unpopular 1807 Embargo Act, which restricted trade with other nations. In 1808, Madison was elected as the 4th President of the United States. He brought several enslaved individuals to the White House from Montpelier and hired out additional enslaved people to help run the presidential household. As White House hostess, First Lady Dolly Madison helped develop a social season in the fledgling capital city. Her Wednesday drawing rooms were lively occasions, and they brought together members of different political parties at the White House. During his presidency, Madison faced mounting tensions between the United States and Great Britain. British forces continued to harass American ships, as well as seize cargo and impress American sailors into the Royal Navy. The war hawks in Congress pressed Madison to consider military action. On the 18th of June 1812, the United States declared war on Great Britain. The War of 1812 continued into Madison's second term, as the underprepared United States attempted to defeat the British. On the 24th of August 1814, in retaliation for the American burning of York, the British entered Washington, D.C. and set fire to the White House, Capitol Building, the Treasury, and other government buildings. 4 months later, a peace agreement was brokered, and the war officially came to an end with the ratification of the Treaty of Ghent in February 1815. After serving 2 terms, Madison retired to Montpelier in 1817. In his final years, Madison continued to rely upon enslaved labor to run his plantation. He also became an active member of the American Colonization Society, an organization that advocated for removing African Americans from the United States and sending them to a settlement colony in Africa. Madison served as the Society's president for 3 years before he passed away at Montpelier in 1836. He is most remembered as the father of the U.S. Constitution. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe with the bell icon.